and welcome to Hixxy Studio. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this spoiled dogger's here plaque. It's quite simple, quite straightforward, and uses this absolutely gorgeous Crafty Individuals Happy Dog stamp. There are a whole range of these different types of dogs. Most of them are breed specific. I've got a couple of other videos, for one called a Happy Cockapoo and a different one for this, but yeah, they're all this kind of Zentangle image, and it allows you to be a little bit more free with the colours. As you can see here, I've used some lovely blues along with the browns. Okay, the other things for the lettering, I have used, and the little heart, I have used these Julie Hickey's Sweet Pea alphabet die sets, both upper and lowercase, and it's on the excuse me, the lowercase that you've got these lovely little hearts that I've also used there. So the main thing we want to look at is the stamp. So let's get the other bits sorted first. We'll get stuck there. So what I've literally used a piece of MDF. Not MDF. Mount board. That'll be the one. This is mount board. You could use thick grey board. If you don't have anything really thick, I mean, you could do it on something thin if you wanted. If you don't have anything thick that you would and you want to, then you can sort of stick several layers of card together. You can do it on the sort of, you know, a box, whatever you want. And what I've cut it to, let's have a look, 6 by 11 3/4, and I think it was 11 3/4 because that was the width of my mat board. Okay, now I have I'm kind of cheating, I suppose, but it's really effective. This paper comes from Crafter's Companion 12 by 12 pad. It's the Forest Friends Garden. I think it's the Forest Friends one, but it's beautiful. In fact, yeah, both of these that I've used come from that one paper pack, but I just think it's perfect for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by literally sticking this down. Now I've got a paper binding glue. You don't have to use a paper binding glue if you've got a good PVA, or not paper binding, book binding glue is what I'm using, sorry. If you've got a good PVA, or you've got another kind of book binding glue, but you need to cover the whole of your piece of card. Now I'm starting off in the middle because I don't want to end up with too much glue over the edges. So I'm going to just cover all of this with my glue. White on white doesn't really help with these lights, but it's okay. And you don't need it to be really thick. So what I'm doing, you can see I'm scraping it back, and in a minute I should just go around and make sure I've got the edges covered. I can see I don't have that bit in there covered. Bear with me. The lights are a little bit in here. So I'm just going to lift it up so that I now go along right up to the edge. I'm just being fussy, really. I don't really want to clean up glue off of my board. That's all. No other reason. No other reason at all. Making sure I've gone all the way along. Again, using the scraper, just scrape off excess that don't really need to be there. And then make sure we've done up to this edge too. Okay, I'll just put that to one side. I'll put the lid on that in a second. And then I am literally going to put this onto the paper, not right up to the edges. Okay, I'm gonna cut the edges. Just find sometimes when you try to put it up to the edges, you don't always manage to do it, and you end up with a little bit where it doesn't quite fit. Sorry for me reaching across, just reaching for my brayer. And giving it a bit of a roll from this side, and then I'm going to give it a bit of a roll from this side too. and then turn it over. Grab my craft knife. Make sure you haven't got your heat resistant craft mat underneath. This is the voice of experience, having done it. And then just literally run your knife along the edge of the mount board, and then you get a really nice edge that fits your mount board or whatever it is you've stuck onto. That's a good thing, because what you're sticking onto is quite thick. It gives you that edge, excuse me, gives you that edge to run your knife along to get that clean finish. So there we go. That's simple. And guess what I've done? I've done it the wrong way. Not the wrong way. I wanted the things running that way, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll live. This teaches me to look at what I'm doing. So I have here then, I have my my base is ready. That's as much as it needs. Now I don't think you really need to see me cutting out hundreds of letters. It's an amazing alphabet, and I only needed to run the E's. There's 2 E's, and I needed 4. But everything else all went through on the one pass. So I have all my letters already cut here, ready to go on. And I've cut them out of the lighter of the 2 wood effect cards, papers, sorry. So those are ready to go. So my backing is ready to go. My lettering's ready to go. So we need to now stamp our lovely little happy dog. Let's, I said I was going to put the lid back on my glue, and I will. Let's put the lid back on so that I don't end up sticking anything I shouldn't. While I'm down there, I'm going to grab my my stamp, which is already in my my little stamp press here. It's a thin red. No, it's not. It's a red rubber stamp, unmounted, and I use them in my stamp press. I use them with a bit of glue stick to stick it down, and I use it on the clear, same place that I would use clear stamps. This is the Tonic Tim Holtz one, and they work perfectly fine. Right, so just bear with me while I find my little bit of stamping card. And I'm kind of keeping the sort of browny theme. I'm hoping that that's in the right place. That'll do. That'll do. I'm using one of the Spectrum Noir Finesse inks, the waterproof one. So I'm going to paint this with Distress inks. So I want something that's not going to smudge when I do that. So this is in rustic brown. Ooh, rustic brown, because I want to keep the sort of brown colour. So you don't always have to stamp in black or even grey. Now I do, the only thing I would say about the Finesse stamp ink pads that I found, and it's no biggie, is this. I cannot stamp with these on a thing like this without getting mess everywhere. I do it a little bit with versafine, but not so much. But I mean, that's kind of, you know, probably more user error than anything else. So I am just going over a little bit with remove a lot of the excess. Okay, so we are going to stamp this, and I'm going to press it down like so. Okay, so I'm going to need a little bit more welly. It might need a bit more ink. It could either be that I've not inked it enough because I was faffing, or it could be because, oh no, it looks like it was because I wasn't pressing down hard enough. So 2 ways you can do. You can see where you've not pressed, or you can see where there's still ink on the stamp. which you so it's again where you haven't quite pressed. Now I know I'm faffing, but that little bit of the ear is annoying me because it's not coming out very well. So I want to get some ink on that. But I'm probably going to make a mess of it now just by trying to do that. Just there we go. See, that's all it needed. Okay, so we have our dog. That back in there because I've still got a bit of ink on that. And we are now going to colour it. And I am going to use some distressing. I've got 4 colours here. I'll grab my water. And okay, we'll go with this brush. Oh no, that's the brush I want. Yeah, so we're just gonna give it a little bit of a I've got speckled egg. I have broken china. I have pumice stone. And I have ground espresso. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and paint. I'm kind of following what I did before, but again, I'm not too worried because all the colours are the same. If I don't put them in quite the same place, I'm not overly concerned. So I'm going to start with going down the front of the face, and I'm using the speckled egg. And this is a very light colour, but yeah, I end up putting so much of this ink on. Okay, here it's better. Let's put in a bit better now, a bit more ink, a bit more water, and we're off. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to use that also down the chest as well because it's kind of like the lighter areas. Like so. And let's see, what should we do? Let's do the eyes. We're going to do those in the broken china. I'm going to do the little eye sort of brows, I think, as well in those. I am looking at the other one just to see, but quite honestly, it just doesn't really matter. Let's put some of this in the flower. A little bit of water with that, so we're just going to make this flower. A bit of that. We'll do some of that over here. I'm also in a moment. Oh no, I'm going to do that up here. Oh, on it a little bit. That's okay. Do that. And here. Where else should we put this? Put it inside her ears. So it is literally, like, as you can see, it's not anything that you really have to kind of fuss about too much. You can. I mean, there's lots of little bits here that you could take a lot longer to colour in. But I'm kind of just going over. This is why a waterproof ink is really useful. Then you can just literally just paint over like that and it's not going to smudge. Let's do some of these little stripes on its face with this as well. Let's do this one as well, quite like that. This is, yeah, you can be as fussy as you want, or, you know, just whatever, really. Don't need to if you don't want to. Okay, let's bring another colour in. Let's do around the eyes. This is the pumice stone. Around the eyes like that. And then I'm going to use the ground espresso just to add in some shading on this one. But probably should have cleaned my brush a bit further away from the blue, but we will cope with that. Just to give a little bit of definition to those eyes. There we go. Oh, let's do the nose with this one as well. There we go. Brown nose, and then we'll get a little bit of the shadow there and a bit of shadow there. In fact, let's use a bit of blue for a little bit of shadow under there. Like that. Ooh, right, let's just go ahead and fill in some more of these flowery bits. So I'm literally just sticking to these 4 colours. In effect, really, it's kind of 2 colours, if you like, sort of the brown and the blue, and then 2 sort of versions of each. It's really what we've done. We use the pumice stone just to come in on the edge of that, and I'm going to get some more of the speckled egg back on my brush just to blend that in. So, what else are we going to do? Let's do a little bit more blue there, a bit more blue here. Like I say, you can see I literally am just whatever, wherever. Doesn't matter. It's whatever you fancy doing. Just, I mean, you don't even need to do all of it. Do some of it white, but I think I'm just going to keep going just for a little bit, just to fill in a few more bits. There. Bit in there. This bit brown. Let's go with, let's have a little bit more speckled egg. I'm making a bit of making it all muddy. Clean speckled egg to go in on those flowers. What else have we got? Get this brown in a bit more. Dark brown tips of the ears. Let's go in here with the brown. So you can see it's not tricky at all if you don't want it to be. It can be really, really complicated if you want to spend more time, but you know, it's one that you can just add a little bit of colour here and there. I mean, you could just leave a lot of it white and just have sort of some focal sort of points of colour. I think I'm just about done with that. Got a bit of pumice stone in there. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Okay, so that's our happy dog, all painted up with our distress ink. So what we need to do now, I'm just going to give that a little bit of a blast because I need to put it down. And then we can mount that up and then get everything stuck together, and then we're done. Ooh. Right. Okay. So let's I have a die. Yes, I do. I did bring the die. So let's cut our little dog with our die. Sometimes I don't bother with cutting with dies. I just cut it. Sometimes it's nice just to have that real either embossed edge, die cutting gives. Excuse me, I must look really odd reaching across there. Or in this case, this is a stitched rectangle. I'm just going to turn that up the other way. Just gives a nice edge to the then I'm just going to grab out my box. I've got another piece of this to mount onto and a piece of this one as well. There we go, that's out. Oh, it didn't quite cut in the corner. I'm just gonna take that off and I'll cut that with a knife. Do that with a knife. I think possibly the angle I had it at wasn't particularly conducive to cutting in that area because everything else is cut perfectly. Probably very near the edge of the board. There we go. Okay. So he's ready. And we're going to mount him onto this one first. That's a quite nice size. So I'm going to grab my pencil and it would appear I've already marked it. Actually, maybe that is a bit too big. Maybe let's go there and there. Grab the guillotine and put under there. That and cut it there. I'm just going to push that there because I then need to cut a piece of this. One, and then we'll go with that one up that way. So again. So when I do that, I'm just eyeballing it really. If you feel more comfortable, then you can measure if you want an exact sort of border edge. But I do tend to just eyeball most of the time. Oh, really struggling to pick things up off of there today. Okay, so there's our 3-bit stick on there. In fact, that one's a bit long. So I'm going to grab that again and chop a little bit off of that. Right. Let's glue these. That's my glue. There. I find sometimes I've got something else underneath. It distracts from me trying to line it up. And then this bit going on here. And that's on there. And then this bit is going to go on there. And then we're going to put the lettering on, and that's probably the bit that will take the longest, just trying to get all of this lined up. So just bear with me while I sort this out. Cool. See if I can still spell H-E-R-E. S-D. Poor dog lives. It's a bit like Scrabble or something, trying to work out where all the letters go. Dog. Oh, lives. There's the I. And for the sake of you sort of watching me, I'm not going to stick all this down. I'm just going to show you. This is how I would lay it out. SPOI. I can spell. POILIVE. Spoiled dog lives here. And then I've got the exclamation. Excuse me, doing that. Exclamation. And then the 2 bits for the eyes. Now I would just have a little bit of a fiddle around and lay it all out exactly where you want it to go before you start sticking, because once you start sticking, then you're kind of committed. And I found, as you can see here and on here, I'll bring this one in now, that in order to fit it in, this D has to sort of go up there, but it all sits in there really lovely. And yeah, so that's your spoiled dog lives here. And I would suggest, if you have a dog and you have a particular breed of dog, have a look at the other Crafty individuals stamps like this, because you might well find one that suits you. Because I have another one. I have a little Labradoodle. She's more poodle, and the cockapoo one looks just like her. So if you do have a specific breed, have another look on the website, find the one that fits you, and tailor your spoiled dog lives here for your own dog. Thank you for joining me.